So first of all, from my side, thank you very much for coming along to this session. Really what the focus is, when it comes up. Just wait for my AV guys. Yeah, there we go. So really what we want to kind of sort of give you guys a feel for the challenges that were taken on by Hotel Chocolat, really to try and match how the customers wanted to order with them. And so essentially, to just give you a little bit of a feel of the session, what we're going to go through, I need to introduce you guys to Hotel Chocolat, probably not in terms of a brand. You guys will probably be hopefully fully aware of them, but obviously a little bit more about who they are and sort of that sort of side. To give you a little introduction to the understanding from Red, we've obviously worked with Hotel Chocolat to deliver this key project. And then from that, Hotel Chocolat set out their kind of vision for Omni-channel, and really what I want to do is just kind of give you a snapshot of what that is, because that flows into one of the key elements, which is really how their users want to do business with them. We're going to take you through what these are so you can kind of understand the challenges this brought, not only in terms of being able to do that across their business systems, but also the challenges for a platform provider like us that had to be overcome in order to deliver this. And then absolutely key to any e-commerce project is you've got to make this simple. What we wanted to do is really introduce some fairly complex options within it, but we had to make sure that the whole site had a very simple user experience. We all know that if we make that checkout complicated, you're going to get a negative rather than a positive drive in terms of revenue. And then after all that hard work, we're kind of going to have a look at what the impact has had on Hotel Chocolat. So Hotel Chocolat really are now classed as one of the UK's leading omni-channel retailers. They are in this sort of luxury chocolatier, and part of that is the slight difference, I suppose, in a way, is they actually take the concept of the chocolate bean all the way through to the chocolate. Totally different to their competitors. These guys have their own estate where they grow their own cocoa, which is obviously used heavily in their chocolates. But additionally, apart from that, they're not just a manufacturer. They actually are and operate across a number of different stores. But there's other additional assets to this to add further complexities to both their business and our challenges. And these include things like cafes. They're now opening up restaurants, and at the heart of these restaurants is the cocoa bean. So for those of you who really do like chocolate, well worth going to when they open up in Borough Market. And then obviously there is a number of brands that make up the family of Hotel Chocolat. And so part of that is to kind of give you a little bit of a feel of the kind of elements that had to be brought together. So who's Red? We are, and basically what we do is provide innovative e-commerce solutions for essentially the mid-market, but also for distributors and manufacturers. And at the heart of this, we are the authors of the Trader e-commerce platform. And this is something that really brings tremendous advantage to our customers. And there's some number of key core areas to the platform. The first one is around promotions and advertising. Effectively, what we're looking to do is try and personalize that user's experience through the web. And that can have fundamental impacts in terms of your conversion and user engagement. Obviously, built within that, the system is very, very powerful in an area that I sort of loosely call content-led commerce. So how do we make that user experience through the site really allow the user to build and experience the brand? How does someone like Hotel Chocolat be able to manage that and enrich that journey? And then obviously that's built up with comprehensive ordering. And then key to this omni-channel world is how we then bring all of these separate systems, online, offline, together in one ecosystem. So what is it that Hotel Chocolat set out to do at the beginning of this project? You know, what was the overall vision? There was kind of really three kind of key areas. So one, Hotel Chocolat, a fast-growing brand, but they're also growing fast internationally. So really it had to be their global web presence, and that really had to bring together a number of elements. All those separate brands that I touched on a little bit earlier, all their different products, but they also have services. They do events. We've talked about the cafes and restaurants. And to be able to bring that together under one roof, for which they were going to grow their online presence. So very much as part of that, the brand is very, very important to Hotel Chocolat, and they wanted to ensure that the experience anyone has with any of their different brands, whether you're in any of their shops and cafes, is absolutely mirrored on the web and vice versa. And so it's really, really important that this was brought together as one seamless experience for the customer. And that obviously requires fairly extensive integration. And then really the key part, and this is the bit that I'm going to really focus on through this session, is really how could they gain competitive advantage by really kind of looking to match how users want to engage with them in an omni-channel world. And this is where hopefully we'll go through and give you sort of a feel for that. So if we take the Hotel Chocolat customer, we'll call him John for now. How does he actually want to engage with Hotel Chocolat for ordering? So the very first thing, fairly common to online ordering, I want to be able to deliver into the UK. It is part of a global family, so therefore I also want to be able to deliver to the US. I may, on the way home, want to be able to collect some products. So I've got some stores near me, so I want to obviously be able to bring that bricks and mortars and web together. Or additionally, do you know, I don't actually want or have time to actually place an order and then go and collect it. All I want to do is make sure that there's going to be a stock, so when I call in, I can pick up the item. So those particular items present a number of challenges. Additionally to that, we wanted to enhance the experience. So a lot of the chocolates that Hotel Chocolat produce, limited release, some of them have very, very strong followings. And so very much an element of this was allowing the user to make sure that they could get those chocolates before release, so effectively the pre-order. Additionally to that, part of Hotel Chocolat's core business is gifting. They wanted to deliver world-class gifting. One of the items is anonymous, so I want to be able to send a gift to Amara, or I might want to send it to my friend, make him think that there's someone who admires him. Additionally to that, I may want to make sure that absolutely this order, it's going to my mum, it's her birthday, that it's going to be delivered on that date. And then key bit is, actually, do you know what? I want the chocolate, I want it now. And so what we're looking for is delivery to me. Now, shortly coming on stream for the London areas, we delivery within an hour. So for the real chocolate people out there, they can get their chocolate wrapped up and delivered pretty quickly. So those sort of challenges, each one of them will present different challenges to a platform, but actually this is going to jump quite a lot higher up when I play this on the top. So actually, what this person wants to do is be able to do all of that from a single order. And that's where the true complexity comes in terms of being able to match that not only from a platform point of view, but also for the implications across all of the business systems. So if we take the challenges, traditional e-commerce, so for us as a platform, essentially you had a single user, he places an order, there's a single recipient, might be me, or it might be someone else that I wish to send it to. There's one order record, one shipping, one tax, one set of promotions. Fairly easy. When you essentially want to change that to multiple orders, so I want to be able to do effectively all my Christmas shopping in one go, this obviously required for us as a platform heavy engineering underneath it. We effectively had to take that one user, one order, and go and create a number of other orders, each which will then take on different rule sets. So we're now looking at things like multiple tax, shipping, promotions, but we're also looking at, they actually got to link all of our orders back to the single order. We've got to provide one view to the customer. I need to know what I'm paying when I place that order. And so this presents a number of challenges, both from a platform, but additionally, when this information is passed back down to Hotel Chocolat, they've got to know what they've got to do with each order and where it's got to go. So as a core, we had to obviously be able to create these orders and link them. Then, obviously, they're going to different destinations. They may be going globally. The system's got to be smart enough to understand exactly what shipping it has to apply where. So in this example, we know what the standard UK, the standard US, the Channel Islands, or if I'm collecting, I shouldn't be obviously charged shipping. Each one of those will allow the user to choose the shipping option that exists. But if you then want to add a further complexity to it, I've actually, through what I've bought, qualified free shipping. What are we going to do here? So these are the sort of challenges that have to be met as we go through. So let's take promotions. And shipping is relatively easy. Promotions does move it up at a different level. So on this particular one, what we have is a free gift on an order over 50. I've qualified for that. So what exactly is going to happen to that free box of chocolates? I've got 4 orders here. What are the rules behind it? Does it come to me? Am I allowed to apply it to someone else? In the case of Hotel Chocolat, they wanted that free gift to go to the user placing the order. So now, effectively, I've got 5 orders coming through. Additionally to that, we've got things like, I've qualified for spend £100, get £10 off. How are we going to apply that discount across each of those items? So therefore, the basket knows what to calculate. And then when you add tax, that promotion where we're taking a percentage off an order level becomes very important because that will affect the total price applied to each one of these individual orders. That information then has to be fed back. Additionally to this, for some of our other clients, we're also dealing with duties. So actually working out the duties calculation for the landed goods. There's also, with Hotel Chocolat is the same, you've got US Nexus for the hugely complex UX tax. And so the system has to be able to very, very quickly be able to work out what the calculations are and provide it back to the user. And again, bring that back into a consolidated view. So other challenges that were done, we talked about having world-class gifting on this site. And this is really a kind of key area for Hotel Chocolat. So the very first thing is the ability for me as my Christmas gifts. I want to be able to individually wrap every single one of those items and put a message against it. I may even want to choose the gift wrapping options. We obviously mentioned the anonymous delivery, so I can then mention and say that this one I want to go through without being told who actually created it. Or alternatively, with all those choices, that one's for my mum, and I really must make sure it's delivered. Now, bringing in, trying to understand that we have a single order, and then against it we have all these multiple orders. This will give you a kind of a very good example of saying, well, actually, Hotel Chocolat would very much like to get a review on the product, but I haven't had it. I'm not in the position to be able to review it. So then has to be a set of workflows that allow the user, myself, to be able to send it to Matt, for example, and say it'd be great if he could review that particular product. So all of this has to be underpinned underneath the system. Exactly the same happens with the gift invoice. I need an invoice, might be doing it on a business-to-business, but actually what comes in the box needs to have that pricing removed. I don't particularly want my mum to know I only spent £5 or £100 on her chocolate, as an example. So we've got all of these complexities going through, and all of this then has to be very, very clearly passed down to their internal systems. So when the guy in the warehouse gets his pick list, goes and gets his items, it's absolutely clear what he's got to do. And we don't get a whole lot of orders going to lots of different directions, with lots of wrong messages and things like that. So other challenges that came through, bricks and mortar and web needed to be combined. So one of the things was to effectively allow click and collect, click and reserve. So essentially it's actually going to be easier for me. I'll just go pick it up on the way home, or I'm going to pop in the next day to my local store and get it. Might be a case because actually I'm not going to be in for those deliveries and I don't particularly want to go to the post office, etc. Or as we explained earlier, do you know what? It's going to be easier for me. There's a store around the corner. I just want to make sure they got the stock because I don't want to get there and be disappointed. And therefore, I can actually check what stock's available. So that kind of gives you a snapshot of some of the challenges that this placed. Now, it doesn't stop there. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to necessarily take you through all of them. But I'm going to mention a couple of others. So Hotel Chocolat is now selling globally. As part of that, they have multiple warehousing. Which warehouse is dealing with which orders for which locations? What is its pick times? What is its pick holidays? What shipping options does it have? All of that information must be absolutely clear, so when I go on site, I know exactly what's happening to those orders when you're taking it in place of a global view. And then adding a whole layer on top of that, I've now got lots of orders. I've received a gift. I need to return it for whatever reason. Maybe the courier stood on it. What is the chain of communication that comes back? It might be a case that it was buy one, get one free, and I've actually asked for it to be returned. That money, what's the decision on it? What's the money going to be paid back to the card? This really does start to become very complex. If we then add, talking international here, we're just taking it again up another notch. So, a lot of complexity, a lot of options, and absolutely the key to this being successful is the user experience through all of that. Must be a little bit like the duck, kind of fairly serene experience. And the challenge was to take all of that complexity and put it under the bonnet. What we wanted to do was get the platform and the system to take the weight. And so what we wanted to do is actually show you the user experience / interface that was put together for this. So predominantly where a lot of this complexity comes in is absolutely at the basket checkout. And the biggest thing that would have driven all aspects of this project is if we've made this really complicated, the results for Hotel Chocolat would be negative rather than positive revenue. So the very first thing is we've set out a very kind of clear basket with a number of items. Here it's got 4 in it. And essentially trying to use very, very clear icons to the user. So it's very, very clear, very quickly, what the options are that they can do in this. Additionally to that, the system is actually smart enough to start splitting the orders. Now, I haven't chosen to split that order, but actually one of those items is a pre-order, or it might not be available for dispatch. It might be out of stock and it's going to be coming in a later date. What this is doing is very quickly telling the user what's going on with that order. So they are now going to get two deliveries. That way, we don't either get a customer service issue or have a disappointed customer at the end. Now, if I do choose to effectively just buy my chocolates, I want to buy them, I want to get them delivered to my house, great, then you can just go through the checkout effectively as you would on a standard site, so very, very fast. If, however, you want to then split it, these options then become available to you, rather than getting in the way of other sales. So the user's chosen to split the items. We've got 4 different orders here. And so at this point, they can then look at an item level or each of these orders, what they want to do. So where do I want that one to go? I want it to go to my friend in America, for example. Or it could be a case that actually the others I want to collect from store. Now, at this point, we provide an interface. Now, one of the key things for this delivery is we don't want users then having to go off on a horrible journey to try and manage their addresses and find stores and come back. We want to keep them moving through the steps of this checkout. So the key thing is to provide instant interfaces that are very easy to use, that are just layered on depending on what they've clicked. So here's the store finder, and here you can just click that store and the information's instantly put through. Additionally, you've got fast address verification. I can write red, and it's instantly starting to find red technology as an example. And that will work across the international level. So with the items now kind of being grouped into different delivery addresses, on this particular one, what's happened is one of the items is not in stock. So therefore, the user's been advised that if they do want to collect the first one, they can, and then they can go back subsequently, or they can wait to get all of them. So all the way through, I as a user know what's happening. Exactly the same with gifting. I can then choose to gift each of these items. And again, exactly the same as if there's no gifting involved, I go straight through that checkout. If, however, I want to do the gifting, by pressing the gifting options, I will then get a suite of options coming through for me to choose from. So I can then choose what message, I can choose things like delivery date, and various fields like that. So that way, depending on the path they take, the interface is very, very easy to use. Additionally to that, if they do decide to do the stock checker, they can actually check against each of the different stores. So once there's limited stock for one, we can see where the next store is. The system will auto-detect by their location and will automatically pull through the local store. They can obviously change it from there, or they can choose their own store. And then store locations, obviously, they're there for them to easily find and access this information. So that kind of brings together kind of some of the challenges that had to be overcome, some of the interface that had to be created for the users to be able to go through. And so what we want to do is say, well, actually, the key thing is was this a positive impact? What sort of results did they have? So they launched, the site went live for this particular project in February 2013. We compared August 2012 to 2013. So the very first thing, which has been great for these guys, is they've had a big jump in revenue. Key to getting sort of return on investment. The second bit is we had a big increase in conversion. Now, that to me was the ultimate rubber stamping of saying, actually, that user interface was actually very easy. And the users were not being put off with it. Otherwise, conversion would have taken completely the opposite turn. Additionally to that, we've been able to upsell the average order, predominantly because people may be buying more, but they also may be combining their gifting within a single order. And then against that, we're looking at visits up. So it's obviously within the site. And a key one really is saying, actually, going through and building this digital global site, really kind of looking at trying to deliver the functionality that users want. What has been the actual response to seeing the site and coming onto it? And one of the key things they managed to do is drive their bounce rate down. So we know that the users are landing, they're feeling and getting absorbed into the Hotel Chocolat experience, and we're managing to draw them through the site. And the conversions very much say that we're managing to draw them all the way through the checkout and out the other side. And this really has had, if you load back to the division, this really has helped to give them real competitive advantage across the board. So I'm going to very much open up if any of you have any questions. Obviously, I'm here with Matt and Calvin. Alternatively, we are exhibiting outside, so if anyone does want to come and speak to us afterwards, please do. Okay, thank you.